I'm Reverend Bade Ogunlani. I'm teaching on the principles of prosperity, how to be rich. If you are interested in being financially free, in being prosperous, you need to learn and master this principle. What we are looking at, we are taking our text from Matthew chapter 8. When one centurion came to Jesus, Matthew chapter 8. I want to teach on the fact that your attitude towards money has a lot to do with whether you will be rich or not. And it is this particular attitude. You need to learn to treat money as a servant. The moment you do not understand that, then it's difficult for you to keep money. It's difficult for you to have. Pastor, what do you mean? I mean that your attitude towards money will tell whether you will be rich or not, especially in the way you see money. Do you want to be rich? See money as a servant. Pastor, what do you mean by that? Matthew chapter 8. In Matthew chapter 8, starting from verse 5, there is the case of a centurion that came to Jesus and he explained some things about servants. Matthew chapter 8, verse 5. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said, I'll come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I said to this man, go and he goeth, and to another come and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. To my servant, do this, and he doeth it. The moment you see money as a servant, you are beginning to build the platform for riches. In what sense, Pastor? Number one, servants are meant to execute some certain obligations. This man says, I tell my servant, do this, and my servant wouldn't have a choice than to do it. It's the same thing. Money has the potential or the power of performance. When you send your servant somewhere, like one parable that Jesus gave about, he said, how many of you will have a servant that you will ask to go and do something, and after that, you will say, sit down, let me go and cook for you? No. We don't treat our servants like that. How do we treat servants? When you send a servant on an errand to do one thing or the other, after the servant comes back, you will assess what he has done. You will compare his performance with the order that you gave him. You will assess the results of your direction, the commandment you gave. Did he act accordingly? Is the same thing. What I'm telling you is this. When you take $1 or a naira from your pocket, ask yourself, when you spend $1 or a naira, has it done what it ought to do? The same attitude you will have to servants, you need to have it to money. That is, you check your account, and you found out that this week you have spent 25,000. Sit down and ask yourself, what has the 25,000 done for me? The same way you will sit down and check your servants, you will measure what he has done with what he ought to have done. For example, if you have some people cutting the grass, You have specified a particular area for them to mow within a certain period of time, probably 2 hours. 2 hours after you have given them the assignment, you ask them to come, you measure what they have done with the time that they have used. Then you ask yourself, have they performed maximally? The moment you start treating money like that, you're on your way to being rich. Treating money as a servant. One of the things you need to guard against when it comes to money is that money really does not like to be treated as a servant. Isn't that interesting? Jesus gave something in Matthew chapter 6. He was talking about riches. He brought out one fact. He said, you can't serve God and mammon. You see, there is something about God and money that looks alike. Both desire to be worshipped. You know, John chapter 4 verse 24 says that God is a spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Now, the same thing that God desires, he desires those that worship him. Money also desires those that worship him. In fact, in the life of a man, it is money that will demand the same thing as God, or demand to be worshipped apart from God. That is, there is only one thing that can contend the most in the heart of a man with God. There is only one thing that can contest with God in the heart of a man, and that is money. If you list things that can contend with God in the life of a man, money will top the list. Why? Money desires to be worshipped. That is why people will kill, they will murder, they will do all sorts because of money. The god of money. But see, the way money is meant to be treated is to be treated as a servant. The same way you send servant on an errand and you call him to check what he has done. The moment you start doing that with money, you're on your way to being rich. Many a time, that is the attitude of the rich. A rich man doesn't just spend money. A rich man uses money. Take note of that statement. Start using money as a servant. That man in Matthew chapter 8 said, I will tell my servant to go, and he goeth. I'll tell him come, and he cometh. Once you have that attitude about money, you're on your way to being rich. Taking and treating money as a servant. Checking what it has done. Do you know, as a rich man, when you really see a rich man giving, have you gone to some functions, some occasions where people are probably dancing, maybe wedding ceremony? When you see a rich man spend money there, he is not just spending in a very humorous way. That's one of the reasons why he comes in front of the video cameraman to make sure that when they are doing the video recording, it is well recorded. Why? He knows that the owner will watch it later on. The money that you see him spray, so to say, in quote, giving people as they are dancing, he is using the money. 2-3 weeks after, we check the person that did the occasion in the office. He has gone to find out how much the money he has sprayed or he has spent has done. He treats money as a servant. Even when you think that the man is lavishing money away, you will realize that actually he is still using the money. The same way he will use money, or you will send your servant on errand and ask for what he has done, is the same way a rich man uses money. He used money and found out what the money has done. So when he's praying you as you are dancing, you can be sure he'll come back later on to come and find out what that money has done. If you have that attitude towards money, you're on your way to being rich. Treat money as a servant. You will see this will check the way you spend money. There are a lot of money that we just lavish out. Money that is not given a direction cannot move far. A servant that is not well instructed in what to do will not do much. It's the same thing. When you give direction to money, money moves further. When you give direction to a servant will perform more, will do better. The same attitude, the same way. There is something about money. Give money the direction, money will follow. Treat money as a servant, then you'll be able to achieve more from the same money. Don't just spend. After you have spent money, sit down and ask yourself, the money that I've given out, that I've spent, what has it achieved? The same way when you give an assignment to a servant, you will ask the servant later on, you will check what he has done. Go over your spending in order to learn. Go over your spending in order to find out whether what you have put in has successfully produced unto you, whether what you have given out has caused a return of the same proportion that it ought to. That singular attitude towards money can greatly help you to be rich in life. Treat money as a servant. Don't treat money as a god. Treat money as a servant. When you spend money, find out what he has done. Find out whether it has done all that it ought to do. Whether what you have seen from it is in proportion to the potential, to the capacity of that money. Learn to treat money as a servant. This is one of the things that the rich have. This is why a rich man follows his coins. Learn to follow your coins. Learn to follow it to find out what it has done. Is one of the most beautiful habits of the rich. I'm Reverend Bade Ogunlani.